All right, everyone, get ready for a deep dive.
Ooh, sounds intense.
It is. We're tackling the 48 Laws of Power today.
That's Robert Greene's book, right?
Yep, the one that kind of feels like a secret playbook.
For getting ahead.
Exactly. It's like distilled wisdom on how power works.
Yeah, from, all of history.
Centuries of it. Philosophy, strategy, psychology, it's all in there.
Okay, so is this gonna teach us to be, master manipulators?
Well, some might interpret it that way.
Right, because, power can be a bit of a touchy subject.
No doubt. But our goal isn't to turn you into Machiavelli.
Huh. Good, because I'm not sure I could pull off that look.
It's more about understanding the dynamics at play.
Like how to recognize the game, even when it's subtle.
Precisely. Because these power dynamics exist everywhere.
Oh, absolutely, whether we see them or not.
Right. And Greene's book, it's like he gives us X-ray vision.
To see those hidden forces.
Yes. And once you see them, you can navigate them better.
Whether it's, at work, in relationships, anywhere, really.
Okay, so to kick things off, what's one of the core ideas in the book that really resonated with you?
There are so many. But I think one of the biggest takeaways for me is that brute force, it rarely works in the long run.
Interesting. So it's not about being the loudest or most aggressive.
Nope. Greene emphasizes strategy, thinking ahead, knowing when to hold back.
It's like chess, right? You got to plan your moves carefully.
Yes. And he even uses a chess analogy in Law 10, infection. Avoid the unhappy and unlucky.
Okay, break that down for us. What does that even mean?
So imagine a project that's failing or a department in turmoil.
Got it. Everyone's scrambling.
You'll notice people distancing themselves almost instinctively.
Right, like they don't want to be associated with the sinking ship.
Exactly. And that's smart self-preservation.
But it's also a power move, you're saying.
Absolutely. Attaching yourself to a losing cause, that weakens your position.
So even just observing those reactions, that can teach us something about power.
Totally. Who's moving away, who's staying put?
It's like a subtle indicator of where the real influence lies.
You got it. And it reinforces that idea of being selective.
Selective about.
The company you keep.
Yeah.
Align yourself with those on the rise.
The rising stars, the ones with momentum.
Right. Those who are already winning. That's strategic.
So relationships, they're more than just, being friendly.
Way more. They're power plays, whether we realize it or not.
Who you associate with, it affects how others perceive you.
Totally. And that brings us to another big theme. Perception management.
Ooh, that sounds kind of sneaky.
Well, it can be, but it's not necessarily bad.
I'm all ears.
It's about recognizing that how you're seen matters as much as what you actually do.
Okay, so it's not enough to just be good at your job. You got to look good doing it.
Kinda. You gotta cultivate the right image, build a reputation.
So no more hiding in the corner, head down, just working hard.
Working hard is great, but you gotta make sure it's noticed in the right way.
Okay, so how do we do that without becoming like a total braggart?
Greene suggests a strategic generosity.
Generosity. How does that play into power?
Check out Law 24. Play the perfect courtier.
All right, I'm intrigued. Give us the gist.
Do favors, especially for those in positions of power.
Yeah, pretty standard networking advice.
But do it so gracefully that they feel like they got more from the exchange.
Whoa, so you're flipping the script.
Exactly. They feel indebted to you without feeling manipulated.
Now that's subtle power.
It's a delicate dance, but when done well, it's super effective.
Okay, so we've got strategic alliances, we've got perception management.
Just scratching the surface, Greene dives deep into human psychology too.
Ooh, that's where things get really interesting and maybe a bit tricky.
For sure, but understanding how people think, what motivates them, that's key to influencing them.
Right, it's like having the user manual for the human mind.
Kinda. He shows how to tap into needs, manage emotions, even subtly shape people's perceptions.
Okay, now that sounds like it could easily veer into manipulation territory.
Definitely a risk. Which is why the ethical piece is so crucial.
I think that's what makes people nervous about this book. It's like, where's the line?
Well, let's unpack that in the next part of our deep dive, because there's a lot to consider.
Sounds good. We'll be right back with more of the 48 Laws of Power. Welcome back, listeners. Ready for more Laws of Power?
I'm ready. We laid some groundwork. Now let's get tactical.
Exactly. It's all about practical application.
Like, how do we actually use these laws in real life?
Right, because knowing the theory is one thing.
Putting it into action, that's the real test.
So what's a situation where people often struggle with power dynamics?
So many to choose from.
For me, it's negotiations. I always get a little nervous.
Negotiations, classic power struggle right there.
Whether it's salary, projects, Even buying a car, it feels high stakes.
And high stress.
Totally. So any laws of power, wisdom for us negotiation newbies?
Oh, yeah. This is where the book shines. Like Law 28, interaction with boldness.
Boldness. Isn't that kind of intimidating?
It can be.
Yeah.
But Greene's point is timidity gets you nowhere in a negotiation.
So fake it till you make it.
It's more than just faking it. It's about preparation, knowing your leverage.
Oh, like actually having confidence because you've done your homework.
Exactly. What are your goals, your limits? What does the other side want?
The more you know, the less you're just, winging it.
Right. Knowledge is power, especially when you're negotiating.
Okay, but what if you're up against someone who seems to have all the power?
Ah, that's tricky. But there's a law for that, too.
Hit me with it.
Law 12. Use selective honesty and generosity to disarm your victim.
Victim. That sounds a bit harsh.
The wording's a little strong, but the principle is solid.
Okay, explain.
Offer a small, strategic concession early on. Seems counterintuitive.
Like giving something up when you're trying to gain something?
It triggers reciprocity. They're more likely to concede to you later.
Ah, I see. So it's all about creating that give and take.
Exactly. And it ties into framing the whole negotiation.
It's framing.
Setting the parameters so the other side feels like they're winning.
Even if you're kind of orchestrating it behind the scenes.
You got it. Perception management in action.
Okay, so beyond negotiation, let's talk about influence in general.
Influence, the heart of power.
Right. How do we build it without, being manipulative jerks?
Great question. There's a law that addresses this, but it's a bit provocative.
I'm ready for it. Lay it on me.
Law 27. Play on people's need to believe to create a cult-like following.
Whoa, hold on. Cult-like. I'm not trying to start a cult at the office.
Don't worry, it's not literal. It's about tapping into a human need.
What need?
Belonging, purpose. People crave something to believe in.
So in a workplace setting, how does that play out?
Create a shared vision. Give your team something to rally around.
Oh, so it's less about, mind control.
And more about inspired leadership.
Making people feel like they're part of something bigger.
Exactly. That gets them emotionally invested, and that's powerful.
Okay, we've got negotiation tactics. We've got influence building.
What else is crucial in the workplace?
Oh, communication. That's where things can go south fast.
Misunderstandings, mixed messages. It's a minefield.
Totally. So does Greene offer any guidance on effective communication?
Absolutely. Law 9. Win through your actions, never through argument.
Actions speak louder than words, right?
Bingo. Less talk, more results. Who wouldn't respect that?
Okay, but what about when you do have to make an argument?
Then we turn to Law 4. Always say less than necessary.
Less is more. Keep it concise and impactful.
You got it. Don't over-explain. Don't dilute your message.
And speaking of messages, what about receiving them? Like truly listening?
Crucial. And you know what law applies here?
Let me guess. Gotta be something sneaky.
It is, a bit. Remember, pose as a friend, work as a spy.
Wait, we talked about that with procurement, right?
It's versatile, applies here too. Observe, listen, gather intel.
Not literally spying, but paying attention to what people reveal.
Their motivations, their anxieties, their goals. It's all valuable data.
Like reading between the lines, understanding the subtext.
Precisely. Be a strategic listener. You'll gain a huge advantage.
Okay, we've covered a lot. Negotiation, influence, communication.
All essential. But there's one more piece I think we need to address.
What's that?
Risk management. Power dynamics, they can be risky.
Oh yeah, big time. One wrong move and it all backfired.
Exactly. So how do we protect ourselves? Well, there's a law for that, of course.
Of course there is. Which one?
It's a bit unexpected. Law 22, use the surrender tactic. Transform weakness into power.
Surrender? That doesn't sound very powerful.
I know, right? But hear me out.
Okay, I'm listening.
Sometimes appearing vulnerable can actually work in your favor.
Oh, so?
Think about it. If someone underestimates you, they get cocky.
They let their guard down.
Exactly. They reveal their true intentions, might even make mistakes.
And then, bam, you seize the opportunity.
Exactly. It's judo, using their strength against them.
So it's like strategic humility, a way to disarm your opponent.
Precisely. And that's when you bring in another law. Law 17, keep others in suspended terror. Cultivate an air of unpredictability.
Okay, now that one just sounds scary.
It's not about being terrifying. It's about being unpredictable.
So don't be a robot. Don't be totally predictable.
If people can't anticipate your moves, it keeps them off balance.
And that gives you an edge.
Absolutely. It's all about disrupting expectations, keeping them guessing.
This whole power dynamics thing, it really is like a game of chess.
It is always thinking ahead, strategizing, adapting,
But it's not just about winning, it's about playing the game well.
and ethically.
Hmm.
Which brings us to a crucial point that we'll dive into after the break.
Okay, can't wait to unpack that. We'll be back with the final part of our Laws of Power deep dive. All right, we're back. Final stretch of our deep dive into the 48 Laws of Power.
Phew, it's been intense, right?
It has so many insights, so much to think about.
And as we hinted at, there's an important layer we got to address.
The ethics of it all, right?
Exactly. Because power, it can be a slippery slope.
That's what makes people nervous about this book, I think.
Oh, for sure. It can be misinterpreted, misused.
So how do we avoid that? How do we use this knowledge responsibly?
Well, first off, we got to acknowledge that Greene himself is aware of the ethical dilemmas.
He doesn't just say, go forth and conquer no matter what.
Nope. He actually cautions against using these laws just for personal gain.
Interesting. So it's not about becoming some ruthless tyrant.
Right. It's about being strategic, but also self-aware.
Self-aware? How so?
Constantly checking your motivations. Why are you using these laws?
To help people. To get ahead at all costs. That's a big difference.
Huge. And it's easy to lose sight of that, especially as you gain more power.
Almost like the more power you have, the more careful you got to be.
Exactly. That's where Law 29, plan all the way to the end, comes in.
Thinking long-term, not just about the immediate win.
Exactly. What are the consequences down the line? For you, for others.
Right, because some moves might seem brilliant in the short term.
But could backfire spectacularly later on.
Damage your reputation, alienate your allies, all that.
It's chess, remember? Got to think several moves ahead and in multiple dimensions.
This reminds me of Law 3. Conceal your intentions.
Ooh, that one sounds sneaky.
It can be, but maybe there's an ethical way to interpret it.
I'm listening.
Instead of flat-out deception, maybe it's about being mindful of how you reveal your goals.
So not hiding them completely, but being strategic about timing.
Yeah, choosing your battles, knowing when to hold back, when to go all in.
That makes sense. It's about control, not just of others, but of the situation.
And that kind of leads us to Law 43, work on the hearts and minds of others.
Ooh, that's a good one. It's not about forcing people to do what you want.
It's about getting them on board, winning them over.
Exactly. Inspiring them, building trust, that's where real power lies.
And that's more ethical, right? It's not just about manipulation.
Right. It's about creating win-win situations where everyone benefits.
So maybe these laws, they're not a recipe for being a power-hungry jerk.
Maybe they're more like guidelines for, navigating a complex world.
Where power dynamics exist, whether we like it or not.
And where understanding those dynamics can actually help us do good.
Not just get ahead, but make things better for everyone.
That's a powerful idea.
It is. And I think it's a great takeaway from our deep dive. Power isn't inherently good or bad.
It's how we use it that matters.
Thanks for joining us on this journey into the world of the 48 Laws of Power.
Hope you learned some useful stuff and maybe even got a little introspective.
And as always, we love hearing from you. Which law resonated with you the most?
Share your thoughts on social media. Let's keep the conversation going.
Until next time, stay curious, stay strategic, and most importantly, stay empowered.